What should I know about Veritasium?
It was under the blood moon. I felt my heart come. I held you in this strange light, a place where
So
shadows
basically, I'm
run.
looking to tie the entire world to Veritaseum.
So Investopedia says that wealth creation is easy. Basically, to accumulate wealth over time, you need to do three things. One, make money. Before you can begin to save or invest, you need to have a long-term source of income that's sufficient to have some left over after you've covered your necessities. Two, save money. Once you have an income that's enough to cover your basics, develop a proactive savings plan. And three, invest money. Once you've set aside a monthly savings goal, invest it prudently. What are your thoughts on this simple 1, 2, 3 strategy? Again, make money, save money, invest money.
I'm willing to wager. I'll bet anybody, pinky bet. You're old enough to remember pinky bets and getting to be an old man now. I'll bet you the person that wrote that wasn't wealthy. Okay.
Okay.
Take a look at the Forbes 400 list, right? Or the 100 list. And let's take a gander which one of them saved their way to get to that list. How many saved their way to Forbes 100? Zero.
Zero.
You can't save money and get wealthy. What happens when you save money? MISADA. You get poor. Okay. Money is not an investment vehicle. Money is a vehicle to move capital from one investment to another. Think of money as a car, okay? And think of investments as houses, okay? You don't live in your car, right? You leave your house, you get in your car, you drive to your other house or to another destination. You then get out of the car and go into that destination. When you finish, you leave that destination, you get your car, you drive back home, okay? What that reporter or editor or whoever, student or maybe capitalist who wants everybody to save money so they make capitalists wealthy, who knows? And if you want to know how that works, you save your money, put it in the bank. Capitalists take your money at 25 basis points, which is what they pay you in your savings account. So they have a 25 basis point loan, unsecured, okay? And they go and they lend it out for 6, 7, 8%. And they're able to leverage it up with free money from the Fed. Okay, so you do make capitalists rich when you invest, when you save your money. And I have nothing against capitalists. I know there's very good looking capitalists. If I'm not mistaken, I saw him recently. He had like a blue blazer and a shirt. So I love him too. He's a very good, cool guy. So nothing against capitalism. But I could be honest. You could be honest and a capitalist at the same time. So you cannot save your money. You cannot save your way to wealth. Okay, money, currency, whatever you want to call it, are methods of transportation of capital from point A to point B. You leave it in your car. If you live in your car, okay, you live in your car for more than a few days, you start to smell bad, you fall out of shape, bad things happen. You leave your money in any transportation vehicle, bad things are going to happen. Leave your money on a centralized exchange, bad things are going to happen. Centralized exchanges are transportation vehicles to go between fiat and digital currencies, crypto, not digital currencies, crypto. Okay, you don't leave it there; you transport it. When you have it in crypto, you bring it home, put it in your wallet. You have capital. If you get capital in terms of income from your job or your business, you bring it home and you put it into its, stay place, whether that's real estate, private equity, public equity, whatever it is. Choose wisely, hold it over a significant amount of time. If you leave it in transportation form, the government disrespects it. They disrespect that transportation form. The highest taxes paid are W-2 wage earners, by far. Okay? The lowest return given or given to W-2 wage owners put their money in the bank. Literally basis points, percentages of a percent. Okay? You don't want to do that. So let's take the savings out. Savings come into play because how much fiat, how much currency, how much money should I keep on hand? Enough to pay your taxes, because unlike El Salvador, the U.S. doesn't accept Bitcoin for the U.S. doesn't accept Bitcoin for tax payment, and they won't. enough for emergencies. Okay, take 6 months of living expenses, put that in cash. That's your emergency fund. Okay, and enough to do your purchase your food items, short-term clothes, etc. Everything else should be invested. Now, you should have another fund, but also invested, but invested in something that's semi-liquid. So you have minimized volatility. So if you have to pull it out fairly short notice, you don't take a 50% chance of, taking a loss on it. Okay, everything else that you're talking, depending on how wealthy you are, if you're very wealthy, 99.5% of everything else should be in risky assets. If you have much less money, suppose you only have, say, 20 or 30,000, then 85% of your stuff should be in risky assets. Okay, but no matter how.
Risky asset.
Excuse me? Say it
What do
again?
you mean by risky assets?
Risky assets or
assets.
assets?
What do you mean?
Yeah, risky assets are assets that you have to, well, let's define risk. Okay, risk, my definition of risk is deviation or negative deviation from your expected return. So the academic definition of risk is volatility, stuff that bounces up and down. Most of us, if you're not a very professional investor, okay, you hold almost everything long, which means you want the price to go up. So if you want the price to go up, the amount of volatility it has is not indicative of risk to you, right? Your only concern is the price going down, going against you. So you define risk as the probability of it going down, right? When you don't want it or expect it to go down. So that's risk there. And that risk is the price that you're paying for a return. Okay, so risky assets have a possibility of going down, okay, for a certain amount of going, a certain percentage of going up. An example would be you want to pay one unit of risk for 1.5 units of return. Arithmetically, you're benefiting 1.5 unit. Okay, a lot of people say, well, I put in $10 and I got $15 back. Okay, right? So they say I made $15. No, right? You made $5 nominally, but if you add the risk proportion of it, that risk was say $2 additional risk. So you only made $3 on a risk-adjusted return. You made $5 nominally, which means accounting-wise, just accounting stuff, but you have to factor in the risk that you took. And you might have made the money, you won't see the risk, but you don't see the risk until it moves against you. And you might not see the risk at all that first time. But if you roll that dice, if you invest every week for the next 100 weeks, right, you will see that risk or 200 risk because it's a math game, just like rolling the dice over and over again or running across a highway blindfold. You could blindfold yourself and run across a busy highway. You could get to the other side and not get hit. That was luck, though, my friend. You run across a busy highway blindfold 100 times, guarantee you're not going to make it to that 100th time. Okay, so you always have to measure risk that way. Now, as for what a risky asset is, it's an asset that exhibits those risks. If you choose the asset carefully, right, you want to take risk in because risk is what you pay for reward. If you get a risk-free asset, which there is no such thing, but let's imagine there was a no-risk asset, a risk-free asset, that would be a no-return asset. So you would get nothing. If you remember earlier in the conversation, I said the price and value are almost always disjointed. And if price and value were equal, then you can never make money because you were always buying something for exactly what it's worth. Okay, so you want to go and buy a risky asset, and a lot of people are put off by the risk, right? You buy a risky asset, you will, if you choose carefully, do your math right, you will make more money over time than if you didn't take the risk. So popular risk-free assets, I did a lot of talking. I'm going to answer your question now. The popular risk-free asset classes, real estate, commercial real estate, residential real estate, income-producing properties, public equities, which are stocks, private equity, which are non-public stocks, commodities, and fixed income and bonds. Now, in crypto. So those are the 6 popular asset classes, 6 risky asset classes. There are other asset classes like intellectual property, art, etc. Okay, that's where you want to put your money. You want to put almost all your money into it. Okay, whatever money is not in there is most likely money that is MISADA, depreciating over time. Okay, and that is a guarantee. So did I
Okay.
answer everybody's question?
Just before you go on, like putting it in real estate, equities, even Bitcoin. I feel like I've missed the boat on Bitcoin because it's, you know, it's like 60, like you saying, 63,000 now. Real estate, I haven't got that kind of money to invest in real estate. And equities, I mean, to me, that's a minefield at the moment, knowing which company to invest in, you know, where to put your money and all that.
Yeah, we have boom bust cycles, and you don't want to buy at the top of a boom cycle because it will bust. But over time, it evens out. You know, if you go back to the top of the last boom cycle in equities, it's a fraction of where equities are now. Now, I personally wouldn't touch equity. I think it's the biggest bubble in the world, but it's a bubble for a reason. It's being blown by the Fed and the government. And they have significant resources and capabilities. It's a gamble, but you know, it's a gamble that there's a reason to take that risk. Personally, it's not for me. But let's take Bitcoin, because I can't go through a whole macro class and investment class and fundamental analysis. So let's just take one thing like Bitcoin. You said you feel you missed the boat because it's $60-something thousand. Okay. A, that's priced in US dollars, which is deflating. Okay, inflating, I'm sorry. And it's inflating hard. And number two, it's a number, right? If you believe in the fundamental value, that utility use case, plus that macro, and then on top of that, speculative, if you believe that you did your work and you feel like, you know, this stuff has value, it being $60-something thousand doesn't matter. I remember when I bought Bitcoin at 100 and change, I was like, I just bought it, whatever. And then I remember it jumped 200 and everybody said, wow, Bitcoin is ridiculous. It's a bubble. At $300, it was a bubble. At $400, you're gonna lose your shirt. $500, New York Rubini. It's a scam. It's blah blah blah. $600, $700, $800. At $1,700, everybody's like, sell Bitcoin, and it's a big bubble. 1,900, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Bitcoin was 6,000 and change sometime last year or year before last. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you know, looking at a nominal price in US dollars is not going to tell you anything about whether you should be in it or not. Okay. If that's what's preventing you from going in or causing you to go in, then you shouldn't be in it at all. Do your fundamental analysis. Utility case, what it can do, and what it is doing, what it's capable of, who it helps or who it hurts. That tells a lot as well. Macro value, how it's being used around the world. And then the speculative values of fluff. That's the risk part. That's the part that you have to worry about. The other two parts are concrete, bedrock. That's what the skyscrapers are built on. The other stuff is the dirt and the sand that's a little malleable. You got to watch out for. Okay? Now, the value of Bitcoin, I can't get into that now. That's a long discussion. I'm not even sure I'd even go through that long discussion for free, but I will tell you how to look out for these things, because educated consumer is the best customer. Okay. Right?
Right. 100%.
Okay. Next question. Next up.
Okay.